Hey everyone, this is Soraya from Twin Flames Universe, and this is your collective energy reading for the week of November 11th through November 17th. And this week is all about giving and receiving, a lot about looking at energy, how we're spending our energy, how are we tuning in with our energy, what boundaries do we have around it. And it's a lot about relationships and relating to other people. So there's a lot of healing around communication, but also around how we carry ourselves in our relationships, how we put ourselves forward. You know, there's some areas we'll be doing a lot of reevaluating this week, and there's a lot of different things that are going to come up and give you an opportunity to get clarity on these dynamics you have in your life. So it's really just reevaluating what our choices are in regard to our energy. You know, where are we putting it? You know, what is our relationship with God as far as receiving goes? Because our perspective is shifting more and more into something that is sustainable with what we're learning about who we are as divine beings, that we are energy, that we are one with God, and that relationship is what gives us the energy to do everything that we do. And so it's really about alignment is what this week is really about. It's about coming into alignment with that flow of energy from God through us into our relationships. Making sure that there are healthy boundaries, making sure that we are looking at and making sure that we're guarding our energy, and that there's no codependent patterns, because codependency is all about attachment, and it's also all about leaking energy, you know, having a sense of sacrifice and having to, you know, take away from yourself in order to maintain a relationship. But in divine relationship, it's actually really just about us and God. We receive from God and we give from a place of being with God. And so it's so much more sustainable and it's not as tiring. But in order to shift more into that new paradigm, we have to reevaluate. We have to take kind of like an inventory of the way that we handle things in relationships. And it doesn't mean that we have to sit down and analyze it and figure it out, go through the list of all of our friends and family members. It's not like that. But as things come up, as you're presented with opportunities in your relationships and you have an opportunity to decide how you're going to interact with that relationship, or, you know, as far as commitments go, like what your commitments look like in that relationship, as things come up, just do it very mindfully and conscientiously, intentionally pull in and look at yourself and how you feel and be guided by that, not in a sense of guilt. Because codependency really needs guilt to survive. It's like the fuel for codependency is guilt. So what we want to do is we want to get out of our mind and talking ourselves into doing things. Let go of the story that we tell ourselves about what we should do, what we shouldn't do, what we ought to do, and why we ought to do it. And instead get in touch with what actually feels and resonates with us. It's this feeling of lack that's coming up, lack of having our good, lack of being able to offer our good, you know, being in touch with our abundance so that we feel like we can give. So when it comes to giving and receiving, this is like a lot of different things coming into play. So as these things come up, just be very patient with yourself, because this is a lot of getting perspective and clarity. So it's okay if things are presented to you and maybe there's like the sense of like, oh no, like what do? I feel stuck. I'm not sure. Just take that time and tune in and really listen to God and stay in alignment with peace, stay in alignment with what He's having you do, and focus on that relationship instead of all these other relationships that are like outside of us, right? Where we feel like we have to give and take and have this exchange and, you know, all of this attachment and fear and guilt involved. And so we're really learning how to claim our power and claim our independence in a lot of ways of who we are with God. And it's a very powerful place to be in when we no longer feel that we have to take from that and sacrifice it on the altar of other relationships, and instead be able to live in a place where we're fully grounded in love with God, and everything flows from that, and it's a natural thing and it feels good. There's some worthiness that comes in with that too, of, you know, feeling worthy of being able to hold your energy and hold your good and not feel like you have to leak it out, and not feel like that's something that, you know, like you deserve that. You deserve to hold that energy for yourself and enjoy it with God. So this week is a lot of looking at values, you know, looking at the choices that we make and just getting some perspective Right now, it's almost like we're getting a lot of contrast and just opportunities to see what's going on, see kind of the choices we've made and make new ones as always. You know, that's what I say every week, but it's so true. But yes, this week the focus is on giving and receiving and our own energy field, and making choices in regard to relationships. And, you know, when there's a block of giving, it's because there's a block of receiving. If you feel like you only have so much to give, or you don't feel motivated, or not motivated like having like an external motivation, but I mean like you don't feel inclined to give and offer your gift, which is, you know, your love, then look at where you're not receiving. Because normally what's going on is that we've got an issue with connecting with our abundance and we feel like there's some kind of lack there. And so obviously if we feel that, we're not going to want to give. So this is about when you're holding your energy, you feel you're in tune with that abundance, and it allows you to give way more. And it's not exhausting, it's not taxing, it's a flow, right, of that energy that you have with God, and it just flows straight out of you. And so yes, this week is just a lot of just looking at the choices that we've made in that regard, and really claiming our power and claiming our worthiness of our good, and allowing love to be the directive in our lives, not guilt, not fear, not feeling like obligated or burdened, but instead just doing everything with God. That way the energy is not leaking from you, but it's actually just constantly, you're holding it, and it's just expressing and radiating from you instead. So that's it for this week. Just focus on giving and receiving, loving yourself and paying attention to yourself, paying attention to how you feel. That's the gauge that's going to help you see where you're at with this energy journey, this energetic journey, and see, you know, where your guidance is in regard to all of these relationships and choices you're making. All right, you guys. Well, I hope you have a great week this week, and I will see you guys next week.